Well, hello everyone. Merry Christmas. I thought we'd have a look at an interesting child's book from 1971 called Just Awful by Alma Marsha Whitney and illustrated by Lillian Hoban. And Charlotte's going to read the story to us, and then I'll tell you what I think afterwards in terms of what I liked about the book. Alright, enjoy the reading. Here we go!
It was just after lunch when it happened. James cut his finger in the school playground. It hurt and it bled a little. James felt just awful. He went to see his teacher, Miss Smith. "What happened?" she said. "I cut my finger," said James. "It is bleeding a little and it hurts too." "Oh," said Miss Smith. "I see. Well, how do you feel?" "Just awful," said James. "I think you'd better see the nurse," said Miss Smith. "I will write a note for you so you can go straight away." James felt worse than ever. He had never been to see the nurse before. He was scared. When James got to the nurse's room, he sat down next to a stomach ache and a sore toe. The stomach ache went in to see the nurse. James was left with a sore toe. Then the stomach ache came out of the nurse's room. He had a big smile on his face. "Ooh, I wish I had a stomach ache instead of a cut finger," thought James. The nurse came to the door and asked the sore toe to come inside. The sore toe went in to see the nurse. Now James was left all alone. Things were at their worst. The sore toe came out of the nurse's room and she had a big smile on her face. "Oh, I wish I had a sore toe instead of a cut finger," thought James. And then the nurse came to the door and asked James to come inside. "Well, what's happened to you, James?" said the nurse. She was a jolly nurse, so James told her the whole story. She told her about the playground and his finger and about how he felt just awful. The nurse examined the finger very carefully. "Oh, I think you're going to be all right," smiled the nurse, "but I would like to give you a 3-part treatment just in case." "The what?" said James, and he hid his hands behind his back. "It is not bad at all," said the nurse as she led James to the sink. "The first part is the cleaning," said the nurse, and he put his finger under some warm water. That really was not bad at all. The finger did not hurt, it was just a little warm and wet. Then the nurse took a great big sticking plaster out of a box. "Next comes the bandaging," she said, and she wrapped a great big sticking plaster around the finger until James could hardly see it anymore. James was really feeling much better. "And now," said the nurse, "the most important part of all." "Are you sure it's so important?" said James. He had no idea what would happen next. He started feeling awful again. "Oh yes, it's very important," said the nurse. "Now come over here and I will give it to you." James started walking very slowly towards the nurse. What would become of him? Just as he got to the nurse, she reached out to James and gave him a great big hug. "Oh boy," laughed James. "Yippee, I feel terrific," said James. "Well, I think you can go back to your class now," said the nurse. When James got back to his class, Miss Smith asked him how he felt. "I think I'm going to be all right," said James.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. That was very nicely read. Okay, so here's what I like about this book. James cut his finger and it hurt, it bled a little. He felt just awful. It was only a small injury, but he was obviously really worried about what might have gone wrong. And kids are like that. They don't know when they have a little injury what might actually happen. So they're scared of blood. They don't like it. Teacher sends him to the nurse. He sat down next to a stomach ache and a sore toe. And we still do that. We still call patients by their diagnosis or by their complaint, which is a bit of a problem. We could call them by their first names. So when James went in, just before he went in, he was very worried. When he went in, he was super worried. He told the nurse the whole story about how he felt just awful. She examined the finger very carefully. We can learn something from that, examining very carefully. James is very worried about the 3-part treatment. First of all, the first part is the cleaning. So she cleans his finger in tap water, which we have good evidence is just as good as any antiseptic solution. So he's already feeling a bit better. Then she covers it with a great big sticking plaster. She wrapped it around the finger until James could hardly see it anymore. And kids really like that if they can't see their injury or if they can't see their drip, their IV site. That kind of makes them feel a bit better too. He's already feeling much better. Now the most important part of the treatment. James started feeling awful again. And this is where the nurse gives him a great big, not a great big injection, but a great big hug. And we're not allowed to do that anymore. We're not really allowed to have inappropriate contact with our patients, but look at the effect on James. "I feel terrific," said James. "Well, I think you can go back to your class." And James reports back to his teacher, "I think I'm going to be all right." So I think there's a few little lessons for us from this book, and I really liked it. And I don't even know if it's in print anymore, but I thought I'd just share that with you. So thanks for listening. Bye.